Give me a little bit of time to get myself together. And also, you need to listen to all of this.
Can't wait to see them both again. First well-round fight, Benavides. Not bad, kid.
Not bad at all.
All right, Harold, very quickly give us your final offensive score. Okay, so and the judges will score the fight. Okay, I've got it 8 rounds to 4. 160, 112, Mauricio Herrera. Basically, I thought he had work. His work rate was tremendous. I thought the fight was tremendous. I just hope the kid don't get rocked again because he's not a big puncher.
T-Street.
Eric Cheek, no notable title fights. He's a relatively new judge, so, we didn't find him in any big fights. Thanks to Luca. I mean, very, very good judge. We use him all the time on HBO. As you see, he had a rare over Perez. Well, he actually had that a draw, but he's always, he always does a good job. Dave Moretti, without question, the best judge in Nevada. I'll never forget his fight with Sugar Ray Leonard and Bob Hadler when he got Manny for the fight. I agree with you every single round.
So what I'm doing is I'm playing this for the people who didn't get to hear the American broadcast. So right now this is Herrera versus Benavides cards. So just hang in there, just listen. We're gonna start talking about another 3 to 5 minutes or so. Please subscribe. T-Street Controversy, T-Street Controversy Live.
Michael Buffer with the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, here at the Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas, we go to the scorecards. Max DeLuca and Eric Cheek have it 116-112. Dave Moretti scores it 117 to 111. All to the winner by unanimous decision. And new champion, Jose Luis Benavides.
You want to tell me you had it 6-6, so maybe one judge on a bad night to have it 7-5, 8-4 twice and 9-3 was. Those are all bad cards. Those are bad cards. And under the circumstances, given Benavides' promoter affiliation, given the fact that promoter is headquartered here in Las Vegas, given the nature of the occasion and the fact that he's
top rank.
This is the kind of thing that is not good for boxing. The fact is this. You can always make the argument, well, what if you gave this time? Why is it 99 times out of 100 throughout the history of boxing, you know which guy is going to get the bad decision if there's a bad decision? Very rarely does it go in the non-money direction. There are some very prominent boxing writers here, including Kevin Ioli of Yahoo, including Dan Raphael of ESPN.com. We know the scores of
Hey, look, the T-Street wasn't up in there.
And I'm told that all 3 of them scored the fight from Mauricio Herrera. Harold, you need to make a comment on this. I told you all the way back to round 4 that the Herrera style.
This was a great injustice, according to Jesse Jackson.
You know he's going to get robbed. He got robbed with Eddie Garcia and Francisco. He got robbed tonight. He works very hard. He lands a million shots, but he doesn't land a big punch. It's a shame. I mean, I compare his career to that of one of my old favorites, Tony Lawson from Albany, who used to get robbed constantly. Herrera's the same situation. Look at Herrera's face. That expression tells the whole story. Let's take a look at the CompuBox numbers and see what they say. Total punches. Herrera lands 35 more and throws 223 more. Benavides lands at a higher connect percentage. He did look terrific at some times during the fight. Total jabs. Herrera lands 24 more and throws 113 more. Benavides
All right,
power punches.
It's going to be a relatively early night. If you don't know, I'm in a bit of a middle of a boxing marathon. I have videos uploading as we speak. So I guess the biggest news of the night is Mauricio Herrera once getting it up the butt he took it up the butt tonight in Las Vegas. You know, and me wanting to be a boxing promoter, seeing something like that makes me wonder, like, how accessible are these boxing judges? You know, like if I was in a supermarket with my shopping cart, you know, going to get me some Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and when I see Dave Moriarty there, and if I say, yo, Dave, who you going for in the fight? And what if I pull out this crisp $1 bill and I say, I'll make it worth your while? You know, would he look at that $1 and be like, I could take that dollar? I know none of this is making sense, but there's a single defined point that I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that boxing is fucked up. It's fucked up, and we keep watching the shit happen in front of our faces in high definition, and it just makes you want to go to one of those boxing judges and say, what the fuck were you watching? That's how, you know, I don't care if they're old or young. It makes me want to be disrespectful. It's like, yo, you old ass fuck, what were you watching? That's people's lives you're toying with. You're toying with people's lives. So to see this very good undefeated fighter, even though he should have lost tonight, Jose Benavidez, and I even said to myself, this is a 50-50 fight. I said, oh, this is going to be tough for me. I struggle to figure out. But guess what? He taught him so well. That was a schooling, man. That was academic. He's a scholar now. And now that he got robbed, meaning now that he got that gift decision, Merry Christmas. Al Heyman wasn't even in the building. Merry Christmas.
You better be this Al Heyman.
You know, let me.
Oh man, that's Al, man.
It's scary. I had the volume down the whole time. I couldn't even hear y'all. It's scary because it makes me think like, yo, like what kind? You really got to be a goon. You got to be hard as nails if you want to be a boxing promoter, because it's just so much shit that you got to deal with. You can't take no sides, and you can't let nobody punk you. Simple as that. Like if you're a boxing promoter, you got to be, you know, because when it comes to these judges, you don't know who to trust. You don't know who to trust, and that's your fighters. That's your investment. So now, not only did Herrera get robbed, he falls back down in the rankings. He was close to being a mandatory for Danny Garcia as far as the WBA is concerned, and now he don't got no belt. So it's like he's the most dangerous fighter right now. I can honestly say that he's the most dangerous fighter at 140 pounds.
Yeah, he is.
What, are you serious? You laughing? What?
Yeah, I'm laughing. Ray, you know you have to laugh. Are you serious?
No, Mauricio's good, man.
Let me hear your debate.
Herrera is gonna get robbed every single time. He ain't got no power, and you know he's gonna go to Sergeant, and he's not a marquee. He's not one of the marquee names. Of course they're gonna rob him. They don't want him to fight Danny Garcia. The public, the people that be in power, they don't want him to do that, and they're gonna keep robbing him all the time. He wasn't even supposed to do that against Danny Garcia. When the fight with Danny Garcia was made, everyone was like, "Who's this Herrera guy?" You know, he was supposed to get blown out, and you're right, he got robbed again. He got robbed twice. Like that's what happens here when you can't stamp your authority down on paper. Yeah, he won on decision, but you're not gonna, unless you can stamp and knock dudes out, they're gonna do that to you, man. He ain't got the big marquee. Like, let me give you an example. Like Jesse Vargas. Him and Jesse Vargas are more or less the same, but Jesse Vargas has got Bob Arum behind him. See what I'm saying? That's how that works, bro.
He just, but I understand to an extent what you're saying, but if we keep somewhat condoning that, well, just because he can't knock you out, you know, he don't, you know, he's always going to get robbed. It's like, well, wait a minute. It's like, really, what is boxing? He goes out there and he outworks the shit out of these fighters. You know, so, like, in the future, it's always going to be over Jose Benavidez's head, as well as whatever fight he decides to take next. Because if he takes another fight next, it's going to be like, why not Herrera? Just like Danny Garcia is permanently damaged, in my opinion, unless he goes on to defeat Mayweather or Manny Pacquiao because of him not taking a Herrera rematch, but then you fight Rod Soka. You know, so it's a lose-lose situation. for Benavidez, if you think about it, because fans are going to say, well, we know Herrera didn't beat you. You know, then if he goes on to fight somebody else, it's like you ducking him. And then third, his team is most likely going to have him fight in lower level competition, you know, because they know, well, you almost lost a Herrera fight, or you didn't look good. You know, so, you know, it's a shame because I'm watching, like, in high definition, and I'm just sitting there watching, like, you know, and I'm watching all these fights, and, you know, I'm trying to stay awake. I'm literally sitting there like this. And I'm looking, and I'm like, what is going on? You know, and I'm hearing the post. I'm like, did they really rob him? Just like when Timothy Bradley, you know, got the draw. I was in awe. I was looking like, wait, a draw? Wait a minute. Wait, what's going on? What is going on? It's these old ass judges. It's these. I don't know who these judges are. I don't know. I don't know what's his system. How does a boxing judge become a boxing judge? Where's the boxing judge application? I want to. As a matter of fact, that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to find a boxing judge application. I want to know what the criteria is to be a goddamn boxing judge, because we all know they ain't never fight before. You know, so it's like, what are you looking at? And also, scoring the fights is completely outdated, to whereas you got these people sitting there, they're on one side, they got no monitors or nothing. They just got to watch exactly what they see. You know, I don't know what view is that? Like, what view? Like, what view makes you?
Ring.
It's like, what view makes you see that a fighter is going to lose when everybody else, including the people in the row back of you, see that the fight? Like, it's just not right. And that makes me think, like, where's your envelope? Somebody got an envelope somewhere. And I think, like, how easy is it for people, like the people in the know, or the people that are not in the know? They don't know who Al Heyman is. So Al Heyman can be going to your goddamn regular ass supermarket, and he can see a judge and be like, hey, here, say thank you. You know? How accessible are these judges? How, you know, like, they're not sequestered, they're not put somewhere. It's like, okay, well, we know, okay, put it this way. The commissions don't put the judges in a specific hotel and say, you have to stay away from everybody this entire weekend. You know, the judges could probably be in the casinos and shit, gambling, you know, probably getting drunk. What is the criteria for being a boxing judge? They can just do what they want. That's a bad.
He's still there. It's still there. Let's see.
Hold on, I'm cutting up my fucking Facebook. Is that my Facebook? Who's got Facebook up? Oh, that's me. But, you know, it's, you know, that fight is just like, you know, I feel dirty after watching it. You know, I feel like somebody touched me the wrong way. It's just like, it just don't sit right with me, man. I'm like, how can something like that happen? You know, but, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you know, with the WBA, they're not going to take it back. They're not going to say, okay, well, yeah, you can have your belt back. This is not going to happen. Are these judges going to get fired? No. The only way a judge gets fired or she gets ran out the sport is if they try to rob Floyd Mayweather. That's it. So, you know, we got to get those judges to judge Floyd Mayweather's next fight so they can get robbed. I mean, so they can try to rob him and then get fired. None of it makes sense. None of it makes no. So they can try to rob him and then they can get fired. Because that's the only way judges get fired.
CJ Ross tried to do that though, ain't?
Yeah, and guess what? She got fired. How do you get
Herrera, I understand Herrera's not the big dude. He's not. I understand, like, you're pissed off and that, but he ain't that dude, man. Herrera, no one cares at the end of the day. Like, you barking, everyone's barking now, but tomorrow everyone forgot about that, man. Like that, like he's the champion at 140, the uncrowned champion, but. And the day, like I said to you, if you're not knocking dudes out, man, they will think, you know, this is what happens sometimes, you know. It's in boxing. There's loads of guys go back in history, they've been robbed. Then it beats.
But it's like, goddamn, twice in what, less than 2 years? You know, that's crazy. Like, he gets robbed twice in less than 2 years by two young, undefeated, crazy fighters. Crazy.
Yeah, well, it just shows you, man, that's who they're backing. That's who they're driving for, man.
Yeah. You know, they had me on the hook. I'm like, Benavidez is so good, man. He was out there he was being taken to school, yo.
Yeah. That's how it is, man. They've been doing it over the years in T Street, man. Boxing is littered with guys who just getting robbed and robbed. Man, you look at Manny Augustus, the one in the hospital, man. He used to every time they used to rob him.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. Because, you know, if you don't bring that money in, if you don't got the record, and that's what boxing has turned to, and that's why we just gotta, you know, that's why we just gotta, yeah, your mic works.
Oh, do
Yeah, that's why we gotta, I don't know, like I feel with social media and, you know, with YouTube and everything, like we are doing a little bit, I think, as far as helping the sport, as far as letting them know, like, yo, we see this dumbass shit y'all doing. You know, when you doing the dumbass shit right in front of our face, it's just like, you know, it reminds me of, like, you know, I watch a lot of government conspiracy shit, you know, on 9/11 and Sadie Huck and all that shit, you know, so I be thinking to myself, like, I wonder, like, if they really be so oblivious as to thinking, like, well, they don't know any better. I'm talking about as far as the promoters and, like, well, we can rob them, but they're not gonna know how. They're not gonna see, like, you know, because it just seems like it's blatant now. You know, like, he took it up the butt on HBO. Like, he took it right up the butt. Like, yo.
What did the commentators say? Did they say it was a robbery as well?
What you say?
What did the commentators say? Did they say it was a robbery?
I played at the end of the beginning of the video, yes.
Yeah,
like, the last 3 rounds of the fight, you know, they was telling Benavidez that, like, he has to knock Herrera out. You know, so the HBO Max Kellerman and Jim Lampley was on some stuck shit. Like, yo, what is this? Like, I was looking like, what is this shit?
Yeah.
You know, because it was surreal. I'm looking like, what is this shit? Like, really, what is this? Like, is this, you know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Just seen that shit happen on ESPN, so we should have known it was coming.
Yeah, the ESPN.
Yeah, Teddy. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You know, and that's just, it's sad. Like, it's really sad when you think about it, because then, like, what are these judges saying? And then the ESPN fight, that was in a smaller arena, so I'm thinking they're right there. You're right there.
Right.
You know, it's not that much noise. Like, what are you watching? You know, they probably shit like tweeting and shit. You know
what's crazy? After that fight, they end up airing the old 30 for 30 with Muhammad Ali, where they robbed what was it, Kenny North?
Yeah, they did, yeah.
It's fucked up. It's fucked up.
They've been showing our kind of robberies.
Yeah, that's not, you know, and it seemed like they know what they're doing. Like, the networks be like, let's put that Muhammad Ali on. You know, you got Teddy Atlas, like, snapping out. You got, he, like, what's his name? What's his first name? I know his last name, Cave. I forgot his first name. But he comes out of the locker room, walks right up on Teddy Atlas, like, yo, you scored a fight. Like, I ain't never seen no shit like that. He goes in the locker room, then just comes out. Like, goes some shit like, yo, what's up, Teddy? Like, what you, like, he was pissed. And you gotta be pissed.
Yeah.
Like, it's sad. I wouldn't have been surprised if, something in my gut told me that they probably was going to try to rob Amir Khan for some reason. But that's crazy how you going into fights thinking, like, oh, he been talking too much. He better not get robbed. You know, like, it's kind of predictable now. I wouldn't have been surprised if they robbed Keith Thurman. But see, when you got the Al Heyman presence in the building.
Oh, man. You're funny. Man, look, man, these dudes you're talking about, man, they ain't got no pop, man. Look, he don't deserve to get robbed. I agree with you. But, man, you can control your destiny with your hands.
Yeah, you gotta knock people out.
Yeah, man, knock him out, bro. Look, there's many fighters, if he goes to the card, you're not gonna get a decision. Like, knock him out. Look, Paulie
back at everybody though, man.
Yeah, no, Paulie, each time to Paulie, like, look at Paulie's 2 wins, yeah, where he won his belt. He won his belt, Lamo and Du. He had to be an unknown African dude, yeah, and he had to go to Europe to beat Shevchenko. Other than that, they kept robbing him in America, man. That's what I'm saying. If you ain't knocking dudes out, they keep doing that to you, but, like, the baby done it to Paulie for the longest because he ain't got no pop. The baby boy until Paulie got to himself where he was with Al Heyman. He had a big backing behind him, so it's like, okay, then they can't just rob him no more. Until you got that, they're going to keep robbing Herrera. Herrera can scream all he wants. You need to put yourself in a position where you got a big name behind you, so that's unlikely to happen, where, all the officials are scared to do that because they're worried about the repercussions of their job security, because, you could rob a Herrera and work next week, But But
Yeah.
he tried to do that with Floyd, which that was the last thing he ever did. Because he realized, because everyone was like, Floyd's paying the bills. Floyd's fights pay some serious money. You can't just do that. You can't do that. So you're right about Herrera, but Herrera, you know, it's a shame you have to like put yourself in that position. But if you can control your destiny with your power, man, that makes a whole difference, man. You know, it shouldn't be that way. Boxing shouldn't be that way, but it's showing you that down the years, they've always been doing that, man. And let's talk about Parnell Whitaker. Didn't Parnell? They robbed Parnell how many times, isn't it?
I don't even know where Herrera goes from here. Like, that's crazy. I don't even know, like what do you do? Because it's like no matter what, there's a good chance every fight you go into, good chance you'll be robbed. I covered his last fight against Johan Perez on the Canelo undercard with Lara, and he legitimately almost lost that fight. But with this case right here, and then with the Danny Garcia, it's like, what do you do? You know, why do you continue to box if you know, like, well, there's a good chance no matter what I do, they're going to just, you know, they're going to say the other person won anyway. You put your heart and your soul in that shit, but, you know, you're right. Tomorrow, next week, people are going to start forgetting, and it's going to be like, okay, who's Herrera fighting next? We're going to remember that he got robbed, you know, by him fighting again, but his career is now clouded by being robbed.
But we remember.
Like, it's like, you know,
he just going to have to come into the fight. He's going to have to come into the fight thinking that he already down, too.
Yeah, exactly. You know, he got like, now he knows. And it's crazy because I saw an interview. He was talking about going for the knockout. And I'm like, oh, shit, you got 7 KOs, boss. You going for the knockout? You know, so, you know, I'm thinking like, well, maybe he knows deep down, like, yeah, you know, going against this young, hungry lion, I got to go out there and knock him out. Maybe that's what he thought. But, you know, it's just, like, it's just outrageous because the shit just makes you sad. It's just like, damn, like, what do you do? You know, like, you might as well just go out there and start low blowing people and start getting disqualified. You might as well go Victor Ortiz on people. They're going to rob you anyway. You know, he'll start selling more if you go Victor Ortiz, I'm telling you. If you go that route. It's just ridiculous. He's talking about going for the knockout. I'm looking, and I'm like, oh, shit, you got 7 KOs. Boss, you going for the knockout? You know, so, you know, I'm thinking like, well, maybe he knows deep down, like, yeah, you know, going against this young, hungry
Why are you dominating my screen? Who's that?
That's outrageous.
Right there. Like, my screen.
You know, like, but you might as well just come out there and start low blowing. Disqualified. You might as well go Victor Ortiz.
I'm trying to like zone in and hear you.
Look, you know what? I tell you what, before we start talking about who is that? You want to put an end to this?
I'm trying to mute somebody.
Hey, yo, Brian, turn the camera on.
Brian, he trying to watch the video.
Good. Like, yo, listen, I was ready to boot him. I was trying to figure out who it was.
Yeah, he trying to watch the video and be in the chat.
Listen, be cool and don't be disruptive. I'm only going to allow but so much disruption. It's not being disrespectful. It's just like I got no choice but to boot you. It's like I got to sit there and you just keep dominating my screen just right there. Like, hey, I'm trying to hear people. But anyway, what was I talking about? Was I talking about bitch-ass Victor Ortiz? Yeah.
Yeah.
I just did his video. I'm going to upload that probably sometime after this video. I tell you, man, no sleep ever. But he won the night against a guy that has 4 KOs. So I think to myself, okay, well, he was supposed to look good. What was the point of that fight? And then I asked myself, well, what's going to be his next fight? We might as well just expect for him to keep fighting guys like that. You know, he's not going to be fighting people keep saying Andre Berto. He's not fighting no Andre Berto soon. And that's because Al Heyman, thank you so much. Or Berto need to say thank you, Al Heyman, because he stuck with him for all these years. He need to make sure before and after every fight he says thank you. Because Victor Ortiz and Andre Berto is not going to happen because Al Heyman is not going to allow it to happen right now. Andre Berto is one of the originators of thank you, Al Heyman. You know, like he was back then. you know, like around burning forests and all that. Thank you, Al Heyman, so much. So much. But yeah, I guess it's time to talk about that American guy. I'm satisfied, but at the same time, he ain't fighting no puncher. So until then, I'm not completely sold. Tonight was, you know, it was spectacular. But still, you know, we all know that we want to see if he can survive not getting knocked out again. That's what it's really about. You know, he's got fast hands, yeah. But can he not get knocked out by Danny Garcia again? Can he beat this Marcos Maidana? That is the question.
Yeah, he can. I think he can.
I think he can beat Marco.
But
Yeah, I
see,
think he can.
you think. We don't know. We got to see.
I don't know. Yeah, but
Like, he's not doing, you know, enough to make me think, okay, Mayweather's next. You know? I can't, like, tonight, I wasn't like, oh, yeah, yes, Mayweather. No, I was looking at the fight like, okay, yeah, he's really, really good. You know, he's improved so much, but not to the point where I'm like, okay, Mayweather. Do I think he can beat Mayweather? Yes, most likely. There's a good chance that he can. His hands are very, 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 very fast. You know, like super fast. But he hasn't done enough yet. Not with Julio Diaz. Give me 1 minute.
Beat Kell Brook, I see that as a legitimate reason he gets the IBF title. He fights Floyd Mayweather. That's a legitimate reason to me.
Oh yeah.
yeah, really, that's the next fight I want to see. Though I want to see him fight Kell Brook.
But if you listen now, he's not even talking. Like, you know, if you listen now, he's not even talking like he knows he's getting Floyd. You know, he's not talking like he was before.
He got embarrassed.
Right. You know, so he's got to. I think getting the title from Kell Brook is going to make things a lot easier for him because it'll be an easier argument because he'll have a title. And then if you think about this fight with Devon Alexander, he should have fought it last year. Maybe he would have got Floyd. You know, you never know.
True.
You know, but now it's just, you know, it's just like, you know, everything is oversaturated with Mayweather versus Pacquiao. You can't not talk about any other fights until you talk about that. It's difficult because you can't say Khan versus Mayweather until we know for sure that Mayweather versus Pacquiao is not happening. As a matter of fact, I think that's a good thing that I should do. I'm going to play this.
What, the Mayweather thing?
So I'm going to play the interview for the people who haven't heard it, the one with Steve Farhood, just to make sure we get it out of the way. If for some reason people be wanting me to. What channel was that? Here we go. Fucking Austin Trout. Hold on, give me 1 minute. Hang in there. I can't hear anybody right now. Yeah, there we go.
They have been listening to people just on one side. Now it's time for us to talk. We want to fight. We're ready. Let's make it happen. May 2nd. Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. Let's do it.
Floyd, do you want this fight because you're a fan?
I don't know if anybody can hear me.
We can hear you.
Y'all can hear me. Yeah, y'all
We
can
can
hear me.
hear you.
Yeah. Negotiate.
Let's see how Steve Farhood say the negotiations have begun.
Mixing his right hand in more with his left hand and throwing more combinations. So he had a very solid guy in front of him. I think the guy, out of 27 wins, the guy had 23 knockouts. So it was a good matchup for him also tonight.
All right, so we're going to take off that hat, the promoter hat, put on the fighter hat. Floyd Mayweather is still a champion. And you weigh in for tomorrow night's show. Keith Thurman called you out. Amir Khan's fighting Devon Alexander tomorrow night in the main event on Showtime Championship Boxing. We know the winner of that fight is definitely going to want you. But there's an 800-pound gorilla in the room. His name is Manny Pacquiao. Negotiations have begun for a fight between you and Manny. You want to fight Manny Pacquiao?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I would love to fight Manny Pacquiao. We tried to make the fight happen years ago. We had problems with random blood and urine testing. Like I said, I just want to be on the even playing field. Now he's in a very, very tight situation. He's lost to Marquez. He's lost to Bradley. Pay-per-view numbers are down very, very extremely low. So he's desperate. I've been wanted that fight a long time ago, and I'm just waiting on them. Hopefully, of course, we have to make the fight happen on Showtime pay-per-view because Showtime Championship Boxing is #1 and will remain #1. And I'm the man. I'm here to stay.
If negotiations go well and the fight is able to be made, would you want that to be your next fight?
Absolutely. Floyd Mayweather is not ducking or dodging any opponent. Bob Arum is stopping the fight. We have been trying to make this fight happen behind the scenes for years now, but the fans and the people have been fooled because they have been listening to people. They have been listening to people just on one side. Now it's time for us to talk. We want to fight. We're ready. Let's make it happen May 2nd. Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. Let's do it.
Floyd, do you want this fight because your fans want it? Do you want it for your legacy? Do you want it for the money? What is the primary motivation that you want Manny Pacquiao?
A little bit of everything. A little bit of everything because I know that he's not on my level. The fans will love to see the fight. And of course, I want to go out with a bang. So let's make this fight happen. Manny Pacquiao, Bob Arum, you guys have been ducking us for years. We tell you guys, fooling the public, fooling the critics. Before we try to make the fight happen, you guys didn't want to take random blood in your intestine. So that's why the fight didn't happen. Then I offered you $40 million. Then you didn't want to make the fight happen. You lost twice. Now you're coming back begging for the same money. That's not going to happen. Let's make this fight happen for the people and for the fans. Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao, May 2nd. Sequel to Mayweather.
You said it best. Very quickly, Ishe Smith.
I wonder if people understand like the point I was trying to make. Like when he talked about that 40 million. You know, it makes me think like, okay, well, you're not going to take the fight if he just takes only 40 million. Now, I said to myself that 1/3 of the revenue seems pretty fair, but 1/3 is about 66 million. You know, and that's just like, well, wait a minute, $40 million, and then we know we know Bob Arum's got to get his cut, and you know, I guess, you know, since I'm talking about it live, it's a difficult situation to talk about because it's one side versus the other side. And we know what they call them. They call them the Flomos and the Pactards. And what happens is no one can start talking logically and really looking at the information that's been given to us, and that's just right there. And you can't look at an interview like that and say, well, for one, they already knew. That wasn't a candid interview. They already knew what they were going to talk about. Steve Farhood knew most likely way in advance. Floyd Mayweather knew, and it just sounds scripted. So, of course, that's what needed to be done. Mayweather needed to come out in the public because it's just been no clear anything from their side. So now we know, as it's always been known, that they are negotiating. Steve Farhood, when he said they are, when he said, you know, they are negotiating, he looked directly into the camera, like, you know, almost to let people know, like, listen, it is happening. But now we know that the fight's not close. Why? It's because of the money. You know, and I have to use my common sense to think like, well, at the end of the day, 10, 15, 20 years from now, what are people going to say? Mayweather walked away from $100 million. People are not going to say Pacquiao. That $40 million like argument is over now because there's so much more money on the table. So if Pacquiao doesn't take 40, Floyd says, fuck that 100 million. None of it makes any sense to me. You know, and that's why I don't understand, like, well, wait a minute. People are talking about who doesn't want the fight and who does, you know. I'm not getting into all that anymore. I'm just looking at what is presented to me. And right now, someone has an astronomical amount of money right there guaranteed. And if he's not on your level, then make it happen. You know, so it's like this: either Manny Pacquiao leaves that 40 million. If that's all Floyd wants to offer is that 40 million, Pacquiao leaves that on the table. Floyd Mayweather leaves 100 million on the table. You know, and then you have to look at once again another common sense issue is that how can you sell another fight if it's not Pacquiao when people know that you're going to be making a significantly significantly lower amount of money. What are they going to talk about? Well, he had that $100 million offer on the table for Pacquiao, but they couldn't work anything out. Who are they going to look at? They're not going to look at, well, damn, Pacquiao the 140 million. They're going to be like, damn, Floyd, how do you walk away from 100? It's just, like how, like literally, I'm sorry, grandma, but I would box her. I would box my grandma, and I talk to her, we'd talk, I go easy. But for $100 million, we can save generations. So I can't understand. It's like you want more than $100 million, and from what I understand, the networks are not trying to give out no pay-per-view, nothing. They want to give these two fighters flat rates and not give out no pay-per-view. And if his pay-per-view is not, the way Floyd Mayweather used to get it, he's not going to get those Richard Schaefer deals with a Pacquiao fight. The networks are going to come first when it comes to that fight. They're going to make sure they get the fighters paid, but then all that extra shit, they want to make sure, they get a large chunk of that. When you're talking about a $1 billion fight, at the end of the day, it's just, none of it makes sense to me. And don't get me wrong, Amir Khan did very well, and he looks phenomenal. But how can you sell that fight with all that money, and then Amir Khan can go over to the UK, where he's from, and fight in front of 80,000? The situation is just not right, and people say Floyd's not backed against a wall. Who's he going to fight? Oh, yeah, Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia?
100 million on that number is hell.
And when you look at the next fight has to do over 1 million buys, because he's talking about pay-per-view buys. If the next fight doesn't do over 1 million buys, that would be 1 in 4 over 1 million. So how much longer are fans going to keep buying his fights, as he say, and as 50 Cent hinted to, because he just thinks, well, he can fight anybody and people are going to watch. No, those days are long gone. He's worn out his welcome when it comes to that.
He's not selling $1 million again. Not happening. I don't see it happening ever again, to be honest with you. Unless it's Khan, that's about it.
But now, it's in a situation where, okay, all right, how can with all this Pacquiao stuff going on right now, how can you get fans, especially American fans, to accept Amir Khan right now when people are going to say, well, we've been hearing about Pacquiao on the HBO. We now heard Mayweather address the situation on Showtime. I don't see how it can be anyone else. But the fight is supposed to be announced, as I've heard, from, I don't even know where I heard it from, from a channel on YouTube. It's going to be announced on Christmas. That seems pretty logical, right? It seems pretty logical. Will it happen? I don't know. But I mean, I just, it just seems like it's difficult talking about it, because it just seems like it's $100 million on the table. Like what do you need to talk about when there's $100 million on the table? Like, get in there with somebody for 36 minutes, and then if it's a rematch, and then if it's a rematch, you can make 150 to 200 million for fights, maybe more. Floyd can make his Showtime contract of 6 fights. All right, that's enough. That's enough. Floyd can make his Showtime contract money in just 2 fights with Pacquiao. So, I'm not going to talk about that anymore. It's just pointless. I'm going to get back on Amir Khan. I say he fight Marcos McDonald next. Oh, no. Got to talk about the draw with Diego Chaves. Now, when you're making $35,000, it's hard for me to believe, especially with Herrera getting robbed on the card, that there's not any other powers at work. Diego Chaves was making $35,000, and, did somebody know, like, well, you make this little bit amount of money, but we're going to try to get you a win and a draw? Because looking at it, a draw is a win for Diego Chaves, basically. So he didn't take a loss, so he can get a rematch now with Brandon Rios, a rematch with Timothy Bradley. Now, look, he's got fights set up now. Diego Chaves is now an HBO name that we know. And it's crazy. So, as far as Timothy Bradley, people are saying he's overrated, and to an extent, I'm starting to see that Timothy Bradley is undefined. It seems as though he's not the same fighter you know, that he was supposed to be or used to be or who we want him to be.
He needs a coach. That's why his training coach don't know how to coach him. That's why he's doing all that craziness in fights and not sticking to the game plan.
Yeah, he's not like he's always. It's never a straight game plan with him. The only time he followed the game plan is, in my opinion, is when he fought Marquez, and that's because he was probably scared to death. I'm scared of Marquez. So that's the only, like, how do you not, stick to the game plan when you fight a Marquez, especially when you see him doing, like hitting Pacquiao with the force of a bus in the face. So now what does he do? He didn't even say, like he won a rematch. He got to go home and talk to his wife. That part is like this. Okay, you're Timothy Bradley. You got a rematch with Pacquiao. Even though Diego Chaves is a fighter, no one wants to fight twice. You get your rematch. Don't leave that out there, Timothy Bradley. Don't leave that Diego Chaves, that draw out there. Go out there and get your win. You made $2 million. You may not make that much for the next fight, but still it's going to be more than a lot of other fighters making. If you're making probably $1 million, I guess he made $2 million for this fight. So for the rematch, if he make $1 million, he's still coming out on top. But as far as he didn't seem in the post-fight interview that he feels confident that he can beat Diego Chaves. He didn't talk about a rematch or anything. He just didn't, So now,
wrong with him, like self-esteem wise, after that Manny Pacquiao incident, I think something wrong with him, like kind of in the head when it comes to his confidence or something. That's not quite there, quite right. With all the Manny Pacquiao, the way he talks about the situation and the way he acts in the ring, got all emotional in the second fight. Something wrong with that boy in the head, I think, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but it's like, where does he go now? They were talking about him and Miguel Cotto. That's out the window. With Miguel Cotto and his whole A-side demands and all that, that fight's not going to happen when Timothy Bradley has a loss and a draw. So it's like, you got to fight. You're not getting Pacquiao again, no time soon unless Pacquiao's around to like 2017 or some shit. So right now it's like, where does he go? I guess fight the winner of Rios Alvarado. You see how that top ring thing works? Because HBO can easily sell a fight of Timothy Bradley, Mike Alvarado. If Alvarado lose. Timothy Bradley, Brandon Rios. But from what I understand, they were saving Timothy Bradley, Brandon Rios for pay-per-view, which is crazy to me. Now that's pretty much done. You got Diego Chaves just going out there just destroying the whole top-ranked carousel plan, down there beating Brandon Rios, getting DQ'd by DDT. And then you got the whole Timothy Bradley draw now. It's like, what's next? We're going to start hearing about Diego Chaves versus Pacquiao. Seriously, that's what it's looking like. He's getting a lot of I don't know what his top ranked contract looks like, but just the fact that he got Brandon Rios and Timothy Bradley, two pay-per-view fighters, that have, that fought Pacquiao, like he's getting a lot of love over on HBO. So he might move over here. I wouldn't be surprised if he do. $35,000, and he's got to pay taxes. So out of that $35,000, I don't know how taxes are in Argentina, but he probably gonna see like $20,000 of that. I'm talking about when it comes to the United States. That's crazy. You can make more than McDonald's, but he got that draw, so it's like a win. You can go back knowing, well, yeah, he didn't lose to Timothy Bradley, and now his HBO career is still alive. It makes me sick. But anyway, man, like it's too like to be honest with you, we had all these fights tonight, but if you really think about it, like what did any of them mean? And probably because we just been fiending for boxing so much, we really haven't thought about like, well, what does all these fights mean? A lot of them really mean nothing. Look at Abner Maris. Abner Maris fought Vasil Lomachenko's first opponent. So it's like, are you ever going to fight Johnny Gonzalez again? Oh, no, wait. Thank you, Al Heyman. Thank you for keeping me away from him, Al Heyman. You look at the Charlos. Okay, I understand what they're trying to do. They can't get any fights. Like either their fighters drop out or whatever the case may be. I can understand that situation. Victor Ortiz, okay, comeback fight. Keith Thurman versus Bundu, that's the best you can do for us. Now, we know Marcos McDonald didn't want Thurman, and we know Robert Guerrero didn't want no Thurman. He called him Keith Urban. He called him a country singer. So I think, like, well, you mean to tell me nobody in the top, nobody in the Bob Arum, I keep saying, but in the Al Heyman stable does not want Keith Thurman? You know, like Sean Porter. Why won't he just go over there and get Kell Brookvelt? You know? So I understand Kell Brook is going to want, you know, like a bigger opponent and all that, but still, it's hard for me to believe that nobody wants to fight him. Or is it Al Heyman, like, steered him towards certain fighters? Like this fighter with Khan versus Devon Alexander. It was a desperation fight because they had to fill that date. You know, we just found out about this fight, what, 6 weeks ago? You know, so I don't know. I'm just not, you know, maybe I'm just not in a good mood because I'm tired. And, you know, like these last 3 nights have been, okay, all right. Let me stop being indecisive. Tonight was good boxing. You know, but last night with Lara versus Ishe Smith, and then Austin Trout, you know, and then, you know, like the cave guy getting robbed, you know, this, you know, Mauricio Herrera. You know, watching all these fights, it does something to you because you start taking that shit personal. It's like, God damn, what the fuck you robbing? I'm gonna get you. You know, it's like, no, like I'm taking this shit too personal, I think. And the only thing I think I gotta do to start helping it is I'm gonna start saying judges' names. I'm gonna start putting Dave Moriarty, Rob, and Mauricio Herrera. I'm gonna start putting their names. So every time you type in their name, you see my face. You know, I think that's really what it's got to come to. You just got to start putting people's names, you know, because it's like these judges, if nobody's not saying nothing to them, they'll keep doing whatever they want. The judges get up, they leave the arena, they probably go to some diner or some after-hour bar somewhere, then they go home with a fresh envelope. Like really? How accessible are these judges? You know, can you just walk up on a judge and get an interview? Are judges being escorted out by security? Are judges being followed home by the Secret Service to make sure they're safe and sound? No. It's like, so how do I know somebody can't just walk up on them and say, listen, I need this favor. I know, you know, that, you know, this person probably is going to win, but still, I need you to make sure it's that way. And they give them that envelope. You know, then that envelope says thank you on it. It's like, man, doesn't make any sense to me.
Happening though is to make sure they get paid a lot of money so that they'll not as likely take a bribe, depending on how much they get paid.
We don't know how much they get paid, and we know judges, like, you know, they just don't cover just, you know, the fights we see on TV. They be working like 5 days a week, flying all over the place, literally. So I'm wondering how much they get paid, and you know, judges should be well paid because you want to make sure that you do your best to steer them away from the temptation of needing more money. Judges and referees should be well paid, you know, and referees work too damn much anyway. Referees be working their asses off, traveling all over the place. But, you know, I got about 10 more minutes. I said I'm going to make this one only an hour because, listen, man, this sleep thing is killing me, yo. It's killing me. It's killing me. It's killing me. I don't even know how long I'm going to be doing these Google Hangouts on, like, right after the fight. I think I only do them after every major fight, but I'm going to switch the date to like a Monday, like 8 p.m. or some shit. You know, seriously, because this is brutal. Especially, like, I did so many videos. I think I got 6 videos up now. I still got another 5 that are just on my hard drive that I still got to upload, title, and all that. But what was the biggest? I mean, is there any other controversy tonight that was missed? I watched the entire both cards, and I really don't think I missed anything.
No, you missed nothing. That was all of it.
Yeah. Next week is crazy because you got Adonis Stevenson versus Seth Hotsky. I'm definitely going to be on Google Hangout for that because I got to clown him. I think you got Gary Russell Jr. fighting sometime soon. He might be on that card. I'm not sure. Gary Russell Jr. is fighting within the next 3 weeks.
You can fight a cab driver again.
Yeah, oh yeah, of course he's fighting. Yeah, of course. Oh, another thing, fucking Deontay Wilder and Bermane Byrne got an all access. Ain't that crazy? Now that's purely thank you, Al Heyman, right there. All access to Deontay Wilder versus Bermane Byrne. That's Al Heyman all over it. Like, that's crazy. You know, like, what are we gonna see from Deontay Wilder's life? Like, really, him beating up on a bunch of Charlie Z's? Like, seriously, like, what do you see?
I think Deontay Wilder will make the show, man. He'll make it good. Byrne probably gonna be boring as hell.
Nah, Stavern, unless you got to see his the press conference with him and Areola for the second one. Like, if he turned into Marcellus Wallace or like Ving Rhames or whoever, then, you know, he can sell because he starts talking some shit. You know, like especially when he started getting into his whole like wrestling promo thing. But I'm just glad that the fight's finally happening. Now we know it's on Showtime. You know, also, there's some other things I got to talk about. I'm still doing some more research on, but as far as that Al Heyman NBC thing, it's not really looking too good, you know, as of right now. As far as, okay, Al Heyman fighters are in a situation where basically they can't just skate off from Showtime and go to NBC. Also, Al Heyman fighters, there's still a good vast majority of them. The fucking parrot.
It's me.
It's a bird.
That's my pet cockatiel Joe.
Whoa.
That's legit, man. That's legit.
No, but listen, I'm thinking, because see, I've been getting people doing dumbass shit, so I'm like, is that a fucking dick? And I'm like, it's the name first. I'm like, I'm getting rid of it.
Next fighting opponent right there. That's what gets Russia fighting.
But listen, Dan, you're a little late, so I'm going to stay on for another 15 minutes. We already talked about...
I got sidetracked, and basically I was watching TV because I didn't think you were a no-show. I thought you fell asleep or something.
No, you see all them fucking fights I had to do? Yo.
Oh, I know.
I still got videos that I haven't uploaded yet.
As a matter of fact, I just got finished watching your Andy Lee one.
Yeah, it's like, see, Google Hangouts like this, I can't miss these. You know, like if it's a bullshit one like Erislandy Lara or something, I'll miss one of his. But like it was like, you know, a fight like this, no matter how tired I am, you know, I'll get up here for these. You know, but right now I'm trying to figure out like if I'm satisfied from tonight's fights that don't mean nothing. What was the most meaningful fight of the night? Realistically, Andy Lee versus Matt Big Korobov.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, it was a title fight. You know, like the next fight is going to be against Billy Joe Saunders, most likely.
I'm wondering what Tim Bradley has broken in his face, because he's got broken bones in there. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, on his jaw, something's not right.
I never.
Hey man, I think that's what got that decision to a draw. I think the fact that his face is messed
all fucked up. Yeah, you know, like,
that's a draw.
I didn't see it a draw. I thought it was an easy 8-4 for Tim, easy. But
because that Bradley be getting fucked up, you know, and there's no better way to say it than he be getting his ass beat. You know, and then if he doesn't, it looks like he's getting his ass beat. You know, like the fact that, like he's got a lump on his jaw, a big ass like a Seam Rockman Holyfield lump on his jaw. It's like something's broken there. I'm like how? Like, why is your face protruding out of your face?
He busted up his ankles before. Now it looked like his face was all busted up, broken bones. He's tough as fucking nails.
Concussions and slurred speech.
And he lasts to the end every friggin' time. Like he'll go the full 12 rounds. There's nobody tougher than him, I don't think. Nobody. I can't think of anyone in the sport that's tougher and can take more punishment than him.
Yeah.
Was it the headbutt that caused that, or was it the headbutt plus the punches?
Yeah, I think it was the headbutt that started things, and I think it just, went crazy from there.
Well, Timothy Bradley had a plan on, well, if Diego get dirty, then I'm going to get dirty. So we saw who had the meaner headbutt. Diego won tonight.
Yeah, Diego,
he won. Like when it comes to dirt, I don't think nobody is dirtier than Diego right now, yo. Like
because when he one of them and he jumped back, I was like, oh, that hurt. I know that hurt.
As far as Diego goes, I said it to someone there on YouTube today in a comment. He didn't even deserve this fight. He basically deserved to be investigated after the fight for trying to rake out Rios' eyes, and he should have been banned from the sport for a year.
Yeah. Well, right now he's made like $60,000. No, a little under $60,000 for 2 fights. So I think to myself, well, what do you expect from this guy? Of course he's going to come out there and be a psycho, dirty maniac. You know, he fighting for his life, basically making that little bit of money. Like I said, because what happens when you lose? What happens when you lose? You make less money. You know, he got a $10,000 raise from fighting Brandon Rios, Timothy Bradley. He made $25 for fighting Rios and $35 for fighting Timothy Bradley.
Yeah, I think those guys. I think what it is, those guys from Argentina, And I think what Bob Arum does is I think he offers them a purse and then gives them some on the backside so they don't get double taxed. So I think he pays him a certain thing, and then he pays him maybe another 20 grand on the back end.
I'm sure Diaz is probably a star over there in Argentina too, so that's probably what it is. I'm sure he's getting some major money over there, especially riding the whole Marcos Maidana wave, you know. So I'm sure I'm sure that has a lot to do with it. But you know, if you think about it, somebody made a post. I forgot what it was. You know, saying that Amir Khan and Timothy Bradley should just leave their ring and go fight each other. Seriously,
Right.
like it's outrageous that you got these guys fighting in the same city, but it's no way we know they can't fight each other. We know. And I remember Timothy Bradley ducked Amir Khan. I remember that. It was 50-50 terms, and it was going to be in the UK. I remember that. And it would have been more money in the UK, but he ducked him. But then Tim went on to get Manny Pacquiao, so
that's a weird situation.
Tim, was it a duck, or was Tim just wary of fighting some guy he probably didn't have enough power to stop?
Well, he fought
fighting in a foreign land. It's a little risky. He did it once before, but you don't want to play with that kind of game.
Yeah, man. I mean, I guess it's just frustrating because now I really don't. This was the last big card of the year. We don't know what 2015 is going to look like, and the way this year was, like, it stunk. This year literally stunk. We got a whole bunch of fights that did not mean nothing. And if you look at it, it was on the Heyman end. And then when you look at Sergio Martinez versus Miguel Cotto, that wasn't as good as we thought it was going to be. And then you get Pacquiao, Algieri, then Danny Garcia versus Rod Sulka. What is wrong with boxing? Like, Danny Garcia versus Rod Sulka, I think single-handedly made a mockery of the sport of boxing. And it's not disrespect to the fighters. It's just like, how do you allow something like that to happen?
Yeah.
And where do you get these guys from? Like, where
even Bradley versus Chaves tonight was kind of a mockery. You got Timothy Bradley, top of the sport. Chaves coming off multiple losses, and one disqualification. He really didn't deserve that fight either. So.
And the thing is, I think the fight. How?
I think this was supposed to be a warm-up fight for Tim Bradley, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
That had to have been a warm-up for him after that loss to Pacquiao. It had to be a warm-up.
Jeez, he came out of it looking like the Elephant Man. Some warm-up.
Yeah. That shit's not gonna heal probably. Oh, you should rub some tussin on it. That's what you got to do.
That was a fixed game plan. He busted up.
No, you got to go ahead and surgery right now.
How you have a lump on you? I've never seen a lump on somebody's jaw, though. Like, how? How? Trust me, we do know that Diego Chaves, he's the dirty Diego. That's what he should. That's what his nickname, his alias should be. Dirty Diego. But, seriously, when it comes to headbutts, when it comes to elbows, low blows, he got all that shit on lock. Never seen somebody so dirty to the point. It's an art form. Like, his dirt is an art form, and he just act like he don't be doing nothing.
Yeah, I think if he could
chewing his gum, I never seen a fighter chewing gum during a fight.
I think if he could figure out a way to do it, he would have these gloves embedded with switchblade knives. But
listen, he's a scumbag, and I like it. He's one of those he's one of like the villains that you root for. Yeah, go ahead, you dirty motherfucker. What I'm talking about? Like, headbutt his ass, Like, cause you watching and you looking at his arms, and you looking at, like, oh, let me see, oh, dirty motherfucker. Like when he took the low blow. I thought he was gonna take the 4 or 5 minutes. I thought he was gonna just sit there. I like him. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, fans look at him like he's a piece of shit. But if he really he gets the job done. Diego Chaves is sitting in there to fuck your night up. He's sitting in there to fuck your career up. Look, he almost got Keith Thurman. He almost got.
Did you guys see that the Photoshop of the side of Tim's face with that Kardashian
ass on it?
Oh no! People starting already, man. That's how it
Man.
begins. That's how it begins.
Hey, but Keith even did the
Asshole.
interview and he was a dirty fighter though, man.
Who was?
Keith Thurman, he did an interview saying Diego was a dirty fighter.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, he gets frustrated in the ring, and once he starts getting a little bit, feeling uncomfortable, he says it's almost like, fuck this, I'm gonna do what I can to, get this guy's heat off me. So he'll start doing fucking illegal shit to buy himself some time.
Ishe Smith lost in that Lara fight. That was hilarious.
I don't know why did that fight happen? What did it mean? Why did it happen? No, seriously, like, what was the like? Okay, everybody knew that Ishe Smith had no chance, and I rarely say that about fighters. He had no chance. So it's like, why? Why? We knew he was going to get Cuban schooled. And even the crazier thing is, that's an Al Heyman fighter on a Mayweather promotion card, which further proves that Al Heyman is Mayweather promotion. So you got Erislandy Lara, an Al Heyman fighter, headlining a Mayweather promotions card. Come on, man. I ain't dumb. This shit don't make no sense. And it's crazy. At one point in time, I ain't gonna lie, I did think that Timothy Bradley had something, like some cotton or something in his mouth. What? Yo,
all I can say about watching that fight last night, it was a beautiful KO. And by that I mean it was me. I was falling asleep by the 7th round. I was out like a light. I didn't.
Oh yeah, yeah. I fell asleep. I got back up like 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I would have got to the yard. Like, yo, listen, I couldn't do it. I could not. Like, watching Erislandy Lara, just like watching any of those Cuban school guys. You will, if you don't catch yourself, you will nod off.
I fell asleep. I was tired. I ended up today. I downloaded and watched the end of it. I almost fell asleep again.
You see his face. You can't see it. Well, anyway, Timothy Bradley's fucked up.
Oh, big time.
Like, I'm looking like, yo, like how did something like that happen?
His wife's gonna have to keep him away from his kids for a while. He's gonna scare them to death with that look.
His jaw.
Hey, that was my first thought too, though.
What do y'all think? What do y'all think about Herb Spence?
Oh, no. I covered his last. I gotta cover his fight. It was the first fight on the Showtime Extreme card. Mm-hmm. I like him. I mean, he is really like the future of 154. People say 154. I mean 147. Yeah. 147, but I say 154. What I noticed is when he weighs in, he's a small 154 pounder, kind of like Keith Thurman used to be. But I don't know if 140. He looks big. I don't know if 147 is for him.
Yeah, but he looked pretty good out there last night.
Yeah, and he showed that he is the guy that supposedly knocked out I was gonna say his name. Knocked out Brown, and then gave Floyd Mayweather that blackout, and Mayweather kicked him out the gym.
I wish they moved him along quicker because he's that good that I think he could crash the top 10 right now, easy.
Yes, he's an Al Heyman fighter. Al Heyman's got the plan. Yeah.
Well, he's coming him out already. He's talking about he want to fight who else? Keith Thurman. He want to fight all of them.
Yeah, but it's not up to him.
Yeah, I know.
It's not up to him. It's about who Al Heyman's going to be like, okay, we're going to wait till you get about 24, 25 wins. Then we're going to get you a title shot. That's what he told Gary Russell.
Yeah.
You know, like no matter who you fight, we're going to get you to these wins to get you a title shot. Look at Deontay Wilder. No matter who you fight, we're going to get you to these wins, and after that, we're going to get you a title shot. It's like, so, you know, he gets you making all this money, fighting on these cards, fight a whole bunch of nobody, then get you a title shot, and that'd be on you if you lose or not.
Yeah. I just love the way he fights, man. He takes his time. He's patient. He's got a pop. I got to give it to that Mexican guy. Boy, he took them shots. Well, they had to get that sucker out of him. My wife kept saying, oh, why are we going to knock him out? Well, you know, Mexicans, they got a chin now. Come on.
Yeah, but he, see, here's, like, I don't see, you know, I watch his fights, but he's been fighting on Fox Sports and, you know, Fox Sports, Showbox, and but
ESPN, right?
But see, it's hard looking at these Al Heyman fighters because I try to believe like, oh yeah, you know, he's gonna be a star. But then knowing how Al Heyman works is like, well, how long? You know?
Yeah. Well, according to him, he said in 2015.
Why did Timothy Bradley face? You know what Timothy Bradley reminded me of automatically? I thought about that episode of Martin when he fought Tommy Hearns. his face all fucked up. I'll go watch it tonight. Like when you feel Tommy,
Mark was the show, man. That was the show.
big ass, lumpy ass. Yo, and it's crazy because you know that was in the ring, so probably when he go home, it's gonna swell up more. It'll swell up more. Yeah, I keep with my kids, yo.
I couldn't believe like as the fight ended, like, yeah, he's pretty bad swelled. But even during the interview, it was almost like I could watch it swelling more. It's like, holy fuck.
But it's
got a big head. He's got a big head as it is. It's going to be fucking a monster by the morning.
Yeah, he lost a headbutt war. Like I thought he had the best headbutting in the business outside of Holyfield and Beehive.
He won the fight, but he lost the headbutt battle.
They should have introduced, instead of BKB, they should come up with an IKB, like some kind of illegal, or ITB, illegal tactics boxing. Chaves would be a champion.
Yeah, I mean, Timothy Bradley is kind of like, now I'm trying not to say overrated, but something's not there, man.
He's been in a lot of wars, tough fights.
Too many wars at his age.
Yeah, too many wars. I would say he's on the downslide now, but he could recover if he took a solid year off. He could get some spring back in his legs. He was slow tonight. He wasn't himself. He needs a solid year off, refresh his body, then come back. That's what he needs.
Too much weight to be welterweight. He's too big in the off season when he ain't boxing. He's too big.
Yeah, that too. That weight bouncing and stuff. He lost some speed. Because usually he could throw punches and bunches and be really fluid at it. Tonight he wasn't. It was almost like he didn't have that timing down. He didn't have that spring in his step. So he lost something from his last couple fights. I think he needs some time off.
He should have kept his ass in that phone booth.
You know what? I think he should. I think he should take a year off. You know, he's made a lot of money. You know, spend some time with his family.
Yeah, he could retire now. I mean, he's made enough money. He's a smart guy. His own manager is his wife. So basically, he's getting a higher percentage of his income than anybody else in the sport. Because he could sit all in house. Like, you know, the only person he's got to pay is his trainer and a couple other guys, and the rest of it goes to the tax man himself. So.
I mean, you fight Pacquiao, you fight Ruslan. Then you fight Marquez, then Pacquiao, then Chaves. Wait, am I missing a fight? And then Chaves. Yeah, that's too many. That's too much. That's a lot. Yeah. That's a lot.
That Provo fight alone took more out of him than probably 10 fights. That fight is a career shortener. I still say that to this day.
He needs to take some time off and work on his mechanics with somebody like Virgil Hunter or somebody, and actually take some time off like Amir Khan did, and then come back to boxing. That's what he should do.
Also, I noticed something about the vegan diet. He hasn't used vegan diet for this fight, but I noticed his last 3 fights, he would come into the ring at about 150 or 149 to where this one he came in at 156. So he is he is naturally getting bigger, and maybe he is too like big for the 147-pound division. I'm not talking about height-wise. I'm talking about weight.
Well, every time he gains a huge amount of weight between fights, it's not all fat. There's a lot of muscle going on too, and there's one thing you can't rip off is the muscle that easy. So.
Yeah, but he got his wife, and I know she be getting that that Mexican soul food popping. And I'm just looking like, no disrespect, I like a little cushion for the pushing, but you can see he just start getting big. After a fight, he just start putting on this weight.
See that picture of Adrian Broner floating around?
What you said?
See that picture of Adrian Broner floating around yesterday?
You know what? That guy, man. That guy.
Starting to look like Rick Ross.
You thought his life together.
Yeah.
You thought he was really focusing on the sport and all that shit, and just seeing him fat again, or when it comes to a boxer being fat as far as a boxer is concerned, it's just not cool. It's not cool because it's like, well, damn, we thought you was extra motivated and dedicated to your craft. I thought he was gonna start staying around his weight. Why my hat so far in my face? I thought he was gonna start staying at his weight. Now who is he gonna fight? He's gonna have to cut what? Probably 30 pounds. I would say maybe he's like what 160 something, maybe 170.
More than that, because he was standing next to Berto. Berto between fights probably weighs 155, 157. You know, and he was like fucking. He looked like the Michelin Man next to him. So I'd say he was weighing like 180, 185 in that picture. I don't care what anyone says.
I got the pictures. I got to see that picture.
You know, it's sad. You know, there's one picture that with the angle he look a whole lot bigger, but you got to see, you know, like one with a straight shot. He came out. Who did he come out with? Oh, he came out with Devon Alexander. You can see him right there, like, yo, he's humongous. It's like he looks like a linebacker, football player.
I'm gonna pop the link to the picture here for you. Just a second.
You know, it's he's hating on. I'm not see people writing comments. I'm hating on Khan. I'm not hating on Khan. It's just that listen, I just want to see him. Like maybe it's not fair for me to say I want to see him take a punch. I just want to see him take. I just want to see him get punched in the face. Is that too much to ask?
No, I think it's legitimate. It's legitimate.
I want to see him get punched in the face and see how he reacts. I want to see him overcome adversity. Yes, he's not supposed to get hit, but at the same time, what happens if he does? You know, Devon Alexander has not been known as a puncher. You know, so I mean, hell, give him. You know, well, they seem to be talking up Marcos McDonough a lot tonight for Keith Thurman or Khan. Give Khan Danny Garcia again, or give him Marcos McDonough.
Putting them to sleep. They're gonna put them to sleep.
Yeah, exactly. But guess what? Al Heyman is going to make sure he holds on Khan to make sure, you know, Khan goes along the path.
I don't see McDonough beating Khan. I don't see that happening.
No, I
think so.
A pressure fighter coming at Khan. What we noticed is, even with tonight, Devon Alexander did not crowd his space. If you crowd Amir Khan's space, you know, he gets it frustrates him.
Yeah, he's going down.
It frustrates him.
I mean, he can get hit in the face though, over and over.
Does McDonough even still got it in him? Is the question.
Who?
Does McDonough even still have the drive?
You know what? That's the thing you don't know because you know he did something that nobody ever has done during this Floyd Mayweather era. He's had Floyd Mayweather twice in 1 year. You know, so he's made some money, you know, and you know he's got a thing for cows. He wants to be with his cows.
Yeah.
You know, like seriously, he probably got like he probably got a Bugatti or something, you know, on his old ass farm. I seen his crib. This is like he got this little shanty looking farm. You know, shady town looking farm. But you know, he probably got a whole bunch of like mean ass electronics. Probably got 4K HD TVs and shit. You know, so he just seems like right now, you know, he's more focused on his family. And people forget, Marcos McDonough used to be a goon. You know, getting shot all in the back and shit, moving weight, you know. So, you know, he probably thinking like, yo, I got Mayweather. Then the first fight, he gave Mayweather almost his first defeat. You know, so even in a loss, you know, like that's still a win for him, taking Mayweather the furthest he's ever been at this point in his career, outside of Castillo. But yeah, Marcos McDonough, I wouldn't be surprised if he takes off until next year. I mean, like late 2015.
In T Street, if you don't see Floyd fight Manny, who do you see him fighting outside of Khan?
Who? What? Who else? Who can he fight? Might go after. I mean, Erislandy Lara. Erislandy Lara can't sell. He's fighting on Friday night Showbox Mayweather promotion cards.
Love Lara.
I mean, Lara. You know, I mean, you can say Keith Thurman. But Keith Thurman is a big risk because of Keith Thurman doesn't sell. Keith Thurman headlined his first card this year against Julio Diaz, and it was the lowest rated card this year, if I'm correct. The one with Matisse and Molina on it. So honestly, I mean, if you look at Canelo too, but Canelo's over on HBO and Oscar going to use that leverage. I mean, and we can't say Miguel Cotto because Miguel Cotto is working with Top Rank right now, and well. If you're not saying Top Ranked in HBO for the next fight, you know, then you got that Jermaine Taylor work like going on around out there with the IBF title. We know he's going to be pampered. We could probably see him versus Peter Quillen or Jacobs.
If he doesn't end up in jail.
Oh yeah, right. And the thing is, I think he shot his cousin in the dick. They say the groin area, but I think he shot him in the balls personally. Because it's like, you know, like if I'm shooting somebody down there, I'm going to shoot him in the goddamn dick. So I don't know, man. But yeah, it is true. He's got to stay out of jail. But then again, if you got Al Heyman, backing you, you're not going to jail. If you got Al Heyman, Al Heyman make things happen.
Who's that? Who shot who? I didn't hear about that one.
Jermaine Taylor shot his cousin in the balls, basically, something like that. It was one of the situations where nobody can come into your house. So if you license to carry and you license to have a gun, somebody come into your house, you can literally shoot them. You can be like, "Don't come in here," and they'd be like, "Oh, come on, man, I'm just coming to visit."
Do you see the link I posted to you, Leonard?
Yeah. It's on the page.
Oh, hold on.
Hey, what do you think about the Charlo twins? I think that second one. What's the name of the second guy? I get confused.
They good.
He's a better fighter, yeah.
Jamal is the pressure fighter.
Yeah, he's the one that won by KO, right?
Yeah. He's the pressure fighter. He's the more exciting one. The other one is Lara-ish. You would think.
No, he's not Lara-ish. He just ish.
Yeah, he's not very exciting. He's not very marketable. They're marketable because they're twins, but the pressure fighter, he's the one that that basically is the future. He's the one that's going to stay at 154. That's chasing the IBF title.
K9, right?
He said, what you say?
He wants to fight K9 for the IBF.
Yeah, well, now he's the #1 contender.
Yeah.
So K9 is in a situation where he's got to fight Mundine or fight Charlo. So Mundine wants to fight, and they offered him like $500,000, to come over there to fight him, which is big money for him. And I think he should take it.
Yeah, I think it's better chance. I think it's better for him to get that one than get the Charlo.
Yes, because the winner would get the winner would be the WBC #1 contender for Floyd's 154-pound title, and also had the IBF. And remember, Andre wants to get Bundrich too. So Andre didn't want to fight Charlo, but he'd fight Bundrich because they get the other title in the unification, basically.
Yeah.
Even though the money might be lower, and that's a very winnable fight for him. So the Charlos, they're both trained by Ronnie Shields, the trainer of Erislandy Lara. So they got a bright future, but once again, there we go. Al Heyman fighters, what's he going to do with him? Like, sometimes I think, like, he has too many fighters. Like, how does he keep up with all of them? I know he has a team, but it's like, that's a lot of fighters that you really got to care about and worry about. Like, I wouldn't be able to do it. I'm sorry.
Did you hear the interview with Kid Chocolate with Ness on the Boxing Boys talking about who was that? I don't know. I think he was talking about was it Triple G?
Oh yeah, the older interview. Yeah, how it's not enough money. He was talking bullshit.
Yeah, talking about that. When has he made $1.something million?
Listen, he walked away. He walked away from nearly $1.5 million. No excuse. And not to mention, then you drop your title. No excuse. I can't. And then it makes it even worse is because he was bragging about it. He really, like, when it first was announced, the purse bid and everything, he really thought Al Heyman was going to let him go along with it. And now if you look at it, the way Andy Lee defeated Korobov, he could have been paid and kept his belt. What?
Yep.
Like, none of it. Like, the fact that Andy Lee knocked out Korobov makes it look worse for people willing.
Yeah, it does.
It's like you could have knocked him out. You really probably could have knocked him out. So you would have had that money that you would have made the same money, close to the same money Maidana made for fighting Floyd. You would have made the money that Canelo. That you would have made more money. Yeah, the same money Canelo made without the pay-per-view buys. More money than Lara on pay-per-view. And you turn down that Rock Nation having that first card though. They finally got some fighters. They don't have no big name fighters. Not yet. They're about to have Brian Jennings very, very soon. So they're making some waves as far as getting into the business. And if Brian Jennings get his face smashed in by Klitschko,
that's gonna be a hard fight.
He takes too much punch. He takes too many punches, clean punches. I'm scared for his health.
Yeah.
I'm scared. I'm scared that he's gonna get his face punched off. Like, and then he's kind of a smaller heavyweight too.
Yep.
But I guess we're gonna do like the closing thoughts. It's after 4 a.m. here, and I still gotta make sure I get these other videos up. Oh man, this is a hard ass job, yo. This shit is kind of painful.
Well, there's like 20 fights this weekend. Did you get the link, Leonard?
Yeah, man. Adrian Brown is starting to look like his pops.
That's probably what it is. He probably chilling with his pops. No offense, you know, but it's probably chilling with his pop too much, or maybe it's just the eating habits of his pop. They probably just be, going to, I guess, Bennigan's or something. Yeah, I don't know. Sizzlers. Going to Roy Rogers.
Look like he been eating pig feet.
Yeah, all this hot sauce, and all these greens. Oh yeah, that's that Thanksgiving gut. There we go. It's right there. Those chitterlings. There we go. There we go.
A little too much gravy going on there.
You know, he be eating all that fucking cakes and shit, all that sweet potato pie. You know, he's eating all that shit. You know, then he don't make weight, eating fucking Twinkies and shit, posting it on Twitter, and then don't make weight. Type of shit is, but yeah, it's disappointing that he's walking around like that, because I really thought that he really had his career on the right track. And I'm not saying that he doesn't, but it's just like, damn, Adrian, why you had to get fat? Like fans were really looking, like that, wow, he really got his body right, his mind is right. And now he's still back doing the same old dumbass shit.
I blame part of it on Al Heyman. He keeps his fighters too inactive. They have too much rest between fights.
Yeah.
If he gave them busier schedules, set them up to fight every 3 or 4 months, they'd stay in relatively good shape.
True. I don't think that I never believed that Keith Thurman injury. I believe it was one of those situations where Keith Thurman always had it, but Al Heyman was like, well, why not get that taken care of now? Just take care of it now, because you're not going to be fighting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just don't, like, Keith Thurman is in a situation where he has to have a big fight in 2015. Amir Khan, Robert Guerrero, all Al Heyman fighters, if you think about it, have to have big fights in 2015. Fans are getting tired of it. There was an interview with Oscar De La Hoya. I believe it was on Boxing Scene, where Oscar was talking about how it can be difficult working with Heyman, and that Heyman is basically finally starting to understand that fans are getting tired. And I'm thinking to myself, finally he's starting to understand? This plan is not working. So it's a tough situation. But listen, man, I got to get out of here because I'm tired of shit and I'm laboring. I'm thinking like, I don't even know how I'm going to continue to do these videos. But definitely I will be here next week, and then next week's card is going to be earlier. So I'm going to be here a lot earlier just to clown Donna Stevenson and talk about Jean Pascal. And definitely talk about Mayweather Pacquiao, what's going to happen with that.
Okay, so, maybe the next time, my closing thought is, maybe the next time we'll talk about Broner cutting some weight to fight Kovalev.
Yeah, right. He is probably like 180. All right, guys. People calling me. All right, guys.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
I'll take you.